Going on, everybody? It's Key Time coming back with another one to talk about Week 11 from the NFL season. Now, there was a lot of stuff that happened in Week 11. The first thing I want to talk about is Joe Burrow. He is out for the season for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals will not make the playoffs because he is a player that is irreplaceable. Joe Burrow, with his injury, the Cincinnati Bengals will not make it to the playoffs. They are 5-5 right now currently. The team that they just beat, the Buffalo Bills, last week, the Buffalo Bills won over the Jets. I will talk about that later in this video. But from what I've seen from the Baltimore Ravens, they seem like the class of the AFC right now. And I think that home field advantage may go through Baltimore. So that's all I have on the first game. The second game is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, they need somebody else. They need somebody else at offensive coordinator. Breaking news, the Steelers just fired Matt Canada. So the Steelers, they will have a new offensive coordinator. The next game that they play, they will have a new offensive coordinator. Now, Matt Canada, I had said this throughout the season that the Eagles offense would have to improve. I didn't see any improvement from the Steelers offense throughout the entirety of the season. So this is the right move for the Pittsburgh Steelers to do right now because they are still in the thick of the playoff race. They are 6-4, and you are getting down to the nitty-gritty of the season because after Thanksgiving, that is when these games count the most. So the Steelers, they did a great job just firing Matt Canada. So as far as the Browns, they are keeping afloat. The quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he had an okay game. 165 yards, 1 interception, no touchdown. But this was a defensive struggle, like I had said. So with this game, didn't expect much from these two teams as far as offense, but the Cleveland Browns got this win. The next game I want to talk about is the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. Now, the Chicago, they had this game won throughout the entirety of the game. But this is where we separate teams that can close and teams that can't close. The Chicago Bears, they can't close out a game. The Detroit Lions, they were down by 9 with under 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter in the game. So the Bears, they had a 98% chance of winning this game. They were leading by 9. So they had a 98% chance of winning. And then the Detroit Lions, they scored 3 touchdowns and they ended up losing the game. And that was all in the span of 3 minutes. So the Detroit Lions, they are a resilient bunch of guys on that team. A lot of teams would have just said, hey, we just going to chop this one up as a loss and come back next week. But they stuck it out. The defense stuck it out. The defense stiffened when it had to. The offense put up points when it needed to put up points. So Detroit, they are a playoff team. They are 8-2. The next game that they have is the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. I think that the Green Bay Packers will lose that, but I'm going to save that for another video. The next game I want to talk about is the San Diego Chargers and the Green Bay Packers. San Diego, they had a chance to win this game. Y'all know how I feel about Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley has been on my chopping block for throughout the entirety of this season, and he will continue to be on my chopping block. He was on my chopping block after last year when they lost to the Jaguars, blowing 27-point lead. So what I see from the Chargers, they need a culture change. They are gonna have to fire Brandon Staley. I don't like calling for anybody's job, but if the shoe meets the foot, you're gonna have to fire him, because third down defense is terrible, your run defense is terrible, and your offense is terrible at only averaging 21 points per game. And Justin Herbert's career record is up and down. He is 29-30. No consistency there. I don't see any consistency coming out of the Chargers facility and what the product that they put on the field. I don't see any consistency coming from that. On the other hand, the Green Bay Packers, y'all know how I feel about them. The Packers, this is a rebuilding year for the Packers. Now, I don't think that they'll make the playoffs, but this is a good quality win on their way for next season, because they won't make the playoffs this year. That's all I have for that game. The next game I have is the Las Vegas Raiders and Miami Dolphins. Now, this game for Miami, with the exception now, as far as Miami, most of their wins have came against teams either 500 or below 500. They've won all 7 games. Now, I will give the Miami Dolphins an exception to this game, because the Raiders, they are a different team. They are not now they are 5-6. But coming into that game, they were 5-5, but they didn't look like a 5-5 team, because they made a culture change, getting Josh McDaniels out of there and putting Antonio Pierce in there. The team is rejuvenated, and I believe that they can make a playoff push. Now, will they make it to the playoffs? I don't think so. It remains to be seen. A lot can happen within the next 5 weeks. So that's all I have from the Raiders and Dolphins game. The next game I want to talk about is the New York Giants and Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders, their season is over. They are done, out of the fold. Don't even need to talk about them no more. I just want to talk about the Giants. Now, the Giants, Tommy DeVito, he had a good game this game. He had three touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. Tommy DeVito looked good. I believe that that the Giants just need to stick with Tommy DeVito. And if they get on a winning streak, maybe, just maybe, they can get into a wild card spot with a 9-8 record. But they need to play like this consistently. And plus, them scoring 31 points, all of it didn't come from the offense. 7 of those points came from the defense. So, hey, good. This is a good win for the Giants. Good win. Hey, you can build off of this. So that's all I have for that game. Now, the next game I want to talk about is the Dallas Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers. I didn't expect much from this game. This wasn't even a bounce back game. This was just a good old tune-up game. Dak Prescott had 189 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, he had a good game. But they really didn't have to break a sweat with the Panthers. I don't even think that they're going to have to break a sweat with the Commanders on Thursday. But I'll say that for my next video. From the Panthers side of things, the Panthers, they are just getting ready for next season. They 1-9 currently. Now they are the worst team in the NFL, but This was a rebuilding year coming into the season, like I said to all Carolina Panthers fans. But you'll be able by next year, you'll turn the corner. That's all I have on that game. The next game, Tennessee Titans versus Jacksonville Jaguars. The Tennessee Titans offense is minimized. It's just it's marginalized and minimized. It only comes down to two people: DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry. If you have those two in check, the Tennessee Titans are going to lose. And that's what the Jaguars did. They had DeAndre Hopkins in check. They had Derrick Henry in check. And then the Jaguars, they just did what they wanted to do. They had over 150 yards rushing. And this game was basically a blowout from the start. So that's all I have on that game. The next game I want to talk about is the Arizona Cardinals and the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, I said before the season, they are my dark horse team. C.J. Stroud, he is getting better and better by the game. He had over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but hey, that's going to come along with the territory. But the Texans were able to dig their way out of a deficit early in the game and win this game. So they are 6-4. They have a big game coming up versus the Jaguars for the right for first place in that division. So we'll see what goes on in that game. The next game I want to talk about is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers, the defense is back. The offense is back. Everything about the 49ers is back. They had a losing streak going on, but they worked out the kinks with everything, and they are back. So with the Buccaneers, 4-6, I don't see them making the playoffs. You got, for the Buccaneers, you got Baker Mayfield. He is up and down, hit and miss, like I said that he was going to be throughout the entirety of this season. For the 49ers, they have a good chance at they will make the playoffs. So they are locked in the playoffs already. Can they get to the NFC Championship game? Yes, they can. Can they win the NFC Championship game? That is a whole different story, because for the last 4 years, it's been Super Bowl loss, NFC Championship loss, NFC Championship loss, NFC Championship loss. So it's been 3 straight NFC Championship appearance losses. So can the 49ers make that next step? We will see. The next game I want to talk about is the New York Jets and Buffalo Bills. The New York Jets, I believe their season is over with. I'm hearing that Aaron Rodgers may come back at the middle part of December. But why come back if the Jets are not in playoff contention? I don't get that. And for the Buffalo Bills, did they figure things out? I'm not going to say that, because look at who they were playing. They were playing the Jets of all teams. So I'm not going to say that they figured things out, because they have the Philadelphia Eagles coming up next. So we will see if they figured things out against the Philadelphia Eagles. But against the Jets, you didn't figure anything out. I had you winning this game going away. I'm surprised you ain't put up 40 points on the Jets, because they have a good defense, but their offense is sputtering, and it is downright awful. So that's all I have for that game. The next game I want to talk about is the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams. LA Rams won this game in an upset. Now, is Geno Smith going to be able to play against the 49ers? That remains to be seen. He's dealing with a little bit of a nagging injury, but is he going to be able to play? We'll see. But from the Rams, 4-6 team, I don't have them making the playoffs. They just need to get ready for the 2024 NFL draft, which is coming up. So that's all I have for this game. Now, Sunday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings and the Denver Broncos. I can say that this is the first time within a year and a half that I was so wrong about the Broncos in this game, because I thought that the Minnesota Vikings would win this game. But on my parlay, I took the Broncos. Now I'm feeling confident because it was a while there where I pick the Broncos, they lose. I don't pick the Broncos, they win. I pick the Broncos now, they win. They are 5-5. They have a chance at the playoffs. Everything is still in their direction. I got to give it to Vance Joseph. He has improved that defense tremendously from Miami up until now, because after they left Miami, it wasn't looking too good for him. But Vance Joseph, he has done a tremendous job after the Miami game. Only thing, the Broncos, they are giving up 17 points on defense. So that's good. And as far as the Minnesota Vikings, Joshua Dobbs, he's keeping them afloat. Can the Vikings get to the playoffs? It remains to be seen, because they are on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. So we will see. Monday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs. The Eagles, they were down for most of this game. The Kansas City Chiefs, they have a lot of questions that need to be answered, because you have Valdez-Scantling. He dropped the game-winning touchdown. I'm going to just go ahead and say it, because that was a game-winning touchdown. Even though I think that the Eagles, they would have went down and tied the game with a field goal, we don't know that. But Valdez-Scantling, he dropped the game-winning touchdown. And I know, I seen him walking off the field. He was upset because he knew that he dropped the game-winning touchdown. But the Eagles, I have to say this, 9-1, best record in the NFC, maybe home field advantage, maybe home field advantage. But Jalen Hurts, he still has a nagging leg injury. We will see how his injury transpire on down the line throughout the season when we get into late December and early January. But for the Eagles, good resounding win. They were down in this game for most of the game, but came out on top. Good resounding win. That's all I got for the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs. That's all I got for week 11 of the NFL season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and remember, the key is always on time.